Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to make sure you guys can hear me. How's my makeup? I ain't wearing none. Looks a little bright. I don't know if it looks so bright on your end, but good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Uh, Busy day today in court. A very busy day today in court. I'm sure a lot of you are talking about the testimony of one, the police officer who took the stand. I think his testimony was decent, but why are we ever talking about the guys here? I mean, come on now. This he has his own style. I mean, it was a great style. I loved it. But let's just go into this testimony of one of the YSL members who took a plea. This individual took a plea early on in the case, and today he had his opportunity to tell his story. And I would just say, tell the story the way he agreed to tell the story. Well, I don't know if he agreed to tell the story, but it sounded like there was some kind of confusion going on there. I don't know if he was trolling the prosecutors, but I would just say that this was a very colorful testimony today, and it continues tomorrow. And we're not even at the cross-examination. This is just direct. So let's just figure out how this cross-examination is going to go. But you know what? I'm not going to talk about cross-examination, but I want to talk about direct. But I can't talk about direct without having the most intelligent, intellect individual that has did this many times for many years as a prosecutor, as a defense attorney. But I'm sure when she was watching the testimony today, she probably took a lot of notes. But without any further ado, I got to bring in the great, lovely professor, attorney, Akeisha L. Shabazz. Good evening, Akeisha L. Shabazz.
Good evening. Good evening.
How's my sound?
How are you?
No one's giving me a sound check out over there. No one's giving me a sound check. How's my sound?
You sound good. You sound
okay,
good. Loud and clear. I'm reading you.
I'm exhausted because I've been in court all day dealing with some behind-the-scenes stuff that was interesting, but more so sitting in front of the witness that was giving very interesting testimony today.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to go back and talk about the cop's testimony because he really didn't say much. I saw a lot of comments. It was on. I'm in the court looking at comments as well as watching everyone, but the comments were looking crazy. I'm going to ask you a question.
I did not see the cop.
Well, the great thing about that is I brought footage along with me. Good.
That's what I was hoping. That's the beauty of this.
The thumbnail that you see, I shot that as well. But I want to talk about the testimony. You saw a lot of it. I think we should just play some of the footage and analyze the testimony and give me your thoughts on it. What do you think?
Yes, let's do that. Let's do some. I would like to do that. That would be great.
Okay, so this this defendant is his nickname is Tick Slug, but he's going to say his name is so I got to pull. Right, so
Trontavious.
All right, there you go. That's a professor for you. But he did. I don't know. There's so many different takes on his testimony, but I want to get your take because your take for me matters most because you've done this so many times.
Yes.
We're going to go ahead and play some of his testimony. What I look at is body language. I look at the way he's sitting in the chair. But I also have a question for you before we start playing this. He's a prosecution witness. There was another several prosecution witnesses came up, not just police witnesses, but there was someone that was a retired, maybe forced retired, Dunwoody police officer that gave testimony yesterday in the morning. His testimony, he was well cleaned up. He
definitely
dressed nice, suit and everything. But why did they?
Let's have. Okay.
I'm sorry. You was going to say something, Ike?
No. I'm trying. No, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Is there a delay or something?
No, I can hear you. I hear you fine.
Okay.
All right. So, what I was wondering is why didn't they put a suit on this young man as a, he was, they had the former cop dressed up nicely, but they didn't put a suit on him. They had the budget to put a suit on him. I guess they didn't want him to be dressed out. He wasn't incarcerated. As a matter
No,
of fact,
they didn't want him to look. They didn't want it to
I'm
look
listening.
contrived. Putting a suit on him would look it would look manufactured, right? It would look inauthentic because he would look out of place. He'd look like a fish out of water, basically. So it wouldn't be wise for him to be in a suit. That wouldn't have been a wise thing.
well,
But for
then
him to be business casual, or something to that effect would have been, a nice button down would have been fine. Something like that. But I thought his testimony was really interesting. I did not think that up until this point, it has been helpful for the prosecution. And I really hope that the defense watches some of this, because there are some really good points on cross-examination that I hope they hit. And you were right. When I was watching it, I was like, oh my God, if I just had an opportunity to cross. I think the biggest thing for me is how they're attempting to paint this gang as such just enough to get a RICO, put it like that. And here you have one of the members who has pled guilty, and you gave him a sentence of 10 years. 2 years of jail that he had to do. The rest of it is on probation. How dangerous is he? You're okay with him being out. You suspended 8 of the years he's supposed to be in jail. He's walking the street. My first question on cross would be like, so you took a plea, right? And you pled guilty to a RICO, meaning you committed acts in furtherance of a conspiracy, right? And surely you are in prison now, right? No, you're not. You're home, right? You're home. And you only did 2 years of the 10 you were supposed to do. Am I right? Did I get that right so far? Right.
You got that right. Yeah.
Come on. Now you came here and you testified. His testimony was that he was interviewed at some point and he talked about being a part of Rock Crew and how that transformed from Rock Crew to YSL. His explanation was, we wanted to get away from the shit that Rock Crew was doing and turn this into legitimate business and a music career. I'm like, how does that help them?
So let me say this. I'm gonna tell you where I was positioned, right directly in front of him, and the jury was right off to the left. When he was turning around talking to some of the jurors, one of the jurors were nodding in agreement when he was saying that. I'm like, whoa, he's making a connection.
Right. There you go. And that's all you need.
So the prosecutor gets in front of the camera. Wait a minute, prosecutor, I see the jury nodding and agreeing with him that, yeah, I'm changing my life. But let's play some of his testimony. Let's bring him up. Come on.
Let's do that. Do that.
Yes.
While you were in high school, would you tell the jury whether you participated in any extracurricular activities or anything of that nature?
No, I didn't.
You didn't play football?
No.
And as a kid or as a teenager, did you have any desire to be anything in particular when you grew up?
Yes, I always wanted to be a chef.
You wanted to be a chef?
Yes.
Did you ever pursue that dream?
No.
Now, did you finish high school? You said you went to South Atlanta High School?
No, I didn't finish high school.
What grade did you finish?
10th.
Now, why did you leave high school when you did?
Bad grades, and I was expelled. Too.
Do you remember why you were expelled?
Fighting and lack of attendance.
Did you go on to get your GED?
I actually had one more course to pass, and that's math.
All right. And are you still working on that?
Yes.
Do you work now?
Yes.
What type of work do you do?
traffic control, and I'm in school where I recently graduated. I got my CDL license.
All right. So are you using your CDL license as well?
She didn't leave us. She's back. I paused it, Ike. You there?
Yeah, I think I'm here.
You here? I hear you.
Hold
Can you
on.
hear the? Okay, you're
Hold on.
here.
Okay,
You
hang
see-
on one second. Yeah, I'm here. I'm
You're there.
trying to
So I passed my test Friday. This was supposed to be my week to go look for work, but I'm here.
But you're here. All right. We appreciate you being here. Now, when you first finished school, or when you first left school, high school that is, what did you do every day after you left high school?
It's a broad question, Your Honor. Okay.
I'll sustain it as to being overbroad. Why don't you just rephrase it, please?
Yes, Your Honor. When you left high school, did you start working anywhere?
No,
Did you stay at home and take care of family members?
I had 2 kids at the time, but no, I didn't stay at home.
Did you have any way to make money during that time?
No,
Did you make any money during that time after you graduated from high school?
I never graduated from high school.
I'm sorry, you're right. Forgive me and thank you for that correction.
Oh, wow.
After you left high school, did you
Oh, my
make
goodness.
money at some point before you started what you're currently working towards?
No, I basically was trying to find my adult self.
Now, you said you did not make any money. Is that legally you didn't make any money, or you didn't make any money in any way whatsoever?
I didn't make any money.
Okay. Were there any particular people that you found your core group of friends while you were in high school?
People that I grew up with from my neighborhood.
All right. And when you left high school, are these the same people that you continue to associate with?
Yes, for the most part.
footage? You took it down?
And as a general
you're
matter,
there.
when you first
I see it.
left high school,
I don't
would
need
you
to see
tell
me.
the jury, if you can recall, what types of
That's
things
better.
that you did outside of school and outside of your home, if anything at all, with this group of friends?
We often hung at the neighborhood park,
What was the name of that park?
Cleveland Avenue Park.
Cleveland Avenue Park. Where exactly is Cleveland Avenue Park located?
On Cleveland Avenue,
Where on Cleveland Avenue? Give us any other reference that you can think of.
so it's connected to Cleveland Avenue Elementary School.
Is there any other name that you have used or that your friends have used to refer to Cleveland Avenue Park?
Yes,
Would you tell the jury what that is?
the park.
Have you ever called it Cleveland Avenue Park?
The park?
Have you ever called Cleveland Avenue Park Cleveland Avenue Park?
No, I just said the park.
While you were a teenager and a young adult, did you ever get involved in any games?
Yes,
Tell the jury, if you would, the first game that you got involved with.
first game that I was involved with was Rock Crew.
Now, would you tell the jury what, and for the court reporter's sake, would you spell rock?
ROC, CREW,
Thank you. And what does rock stand for?
raised on Cleveland.
Now, were you the only member of Rock Crew, or were there other members of Rock Crew besides yourself?
Yes,
Yes, there were other members.
yes.
Do you know about how many people were members of Rock Crew when you first joined?
No,
Were there more than 3?
Yes.
Around what time in your life did you join Rock Crew? How old were you?
You want to grab one from the MP?
I'm not sure what that was, Judge, but it was not the witness.
What was either?
What the
Would you
hell?
like for us to hold on?
Bitch, hold on 1 second.
Okay, so so that part right there. Apparently, someone hacked into the system.
Wow,
Did you hear the laughter?
that's crazy.
Yeah. So apparently, if you recall, during the pre-trial, someone
That's
hacked
hysterical.
into the judge's system. I don't know if people remember that, but that was early on.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, but they hacked into the system. It was so crazy. And they were saying something to the effect that, Judge, did you get that bag of money yet?
That's terrible.
So it was interesting when this happened again. And I said, oh my goodness, someone hacked the system again. I mean, that was really crazy, but
That's bad.
So the movement, see, people couldn't see what was happening. The movement in the courtroom, like they were looking around like someone had a device on, and it really wasn't a device. Someone hacked into one of their systems. And the question I have is, how were they able to do that? How?
Right. Well, hackers are good at what they do.
There's Lynch getting on Zoom.
Their information is not safe.
They really threw the prosecutor off.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
We good? Okay, all right. Huh?
Caps, hold on a second.
She's gonna take it off. Okay, all right. Huh? Yeah, we can just, hey, Wes, just go ahead and disconnect.
Dennis, while we're stopping, quick question for you. How come this guy didn't ask for his face to be not shown like the cops?
How old were you when you first joined?
That's a good question. They showed a lot of care and concern for several cops who were giving testimony. And the next, and I'll let you know, the next witness is going to be an undercover cop, and we're not going to show his face either. After this, after he's finished his directing, they do cross. There's an undercover cop coming in.
So how come the same precautions weren't taken for this person who's a cooperating witness and surely is placing himself at great harm by testifying as a co-defendant in this case, as a cooperator?
That's a good question. I know before he got on the stand, we had the witness list, and I saw some people in the comment section that knew he was coming up as well, so they might have watched someone's tweet. But I agree with you. The members of his group, gang, associations know who he is, but the general public doesn't. And he has a unique style. With he looks young, but his hair is he had gray hair. So I don't know. I agree with you. They should and that's the question probably we will ask his attorney at some point during the trial.
Right.
Why didn't they ask? Why didn't he ask? Maybe I ask that question tomorrow. Why didn't he want to get himself masked or something? But anyway, let's listen what's going on. They about to start back.
I don't call it at that age, probably 15, 14.
14 or 15?
Yeah.
And who was it, if anybody at all, that first introduced you to Rock Crew?
So, that person is deceased, and per the family wishes, they was like, can I not speak on the deceased?
I understand. I appreciate that. And
Let me ask you a question. So he said, per the family wishes, did they know he was going to give testimony?
That sounds like an excuse to not answer your question, to answer her
Right.
question. That is what that is. Yes, here is some pretextual reason for me to not answer this question. That sounds like it's valid and makes me look like a stand-up guy because I'm
Right.
honoring the wishes of this dead person.
Right. But
It's
we'll learn.
wholly irrelevant anyway, and I don't know why the defense is not objecting. Right? Who cares who introduced him? If it's not one of the co-defendants in this case, it's irrelevant.
Right. It's irrelevant. Absolutely.
how about this? Without giving their full legal name, are you able to tell the jury it's the nickname?
Yes.
Would you tell the jury the nickname of the person?
His name is Boo.
Spell that for the court.
Boo. B-O-O.
Who don't know a Boo?
Now, how old was Boo?
I got
when he
I got a
introduced you
brother
to
named
Rock?
Boo.
I really don't know his age now.
Fair enough. Was he older than you, around your same age?
Yes, he was older than me.
So was he your friend or friends of any particular members of your
Can you
family?
stop leading objection, compound question?
Like,
Form
when
is
you first
terrible.
were introduced to Rock Crew through him, did you know him personally?
That's a stupid question. Objection. Did you know him
Or were you
personally?
introduced to him through someone?
Oh, that's a different
Um,
question.
I'm trying to
I was
recall. It's
upset
been so
with
long
that.
ago. I'm trying to remember how I actually met him. So yeah, it had to be like me knowing someone he knew.
Okay.
He's speculating.
Did Rock Crew have
Speculating.
any
He's like, oh, it had to
particular way
be.
that they identified themselves, or that you all identified yourselves? Like, did you make yourselves known to the community that you were Rock Crew?
It really didn't have to because all of us was raised on Cleveland, and that's what it stood for, raised on Cleveland.
Did you all do some things that were not legal as Rock Crew?
Did you all do some things that was not legal as a rock crew? So it was alleged that rock crew committed the crimes in the neighborhood. Myself personally, I had a criminal record at the time. So yes, because I was a rock crew and I had a criminal record. So yes.
Ike, I want to say something. He says that the people in that area, they're called Rock Crew. He also said that he had a criminal record, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they all had criminal records. I grew up in Webster, at the
Right.
Webster Project in New York, and we had the Webster Crew, but we weren't committing
Right.
crimes. But we know that if you weren't living on Webster, then you had to live on another block, and you weren't part of
Right.
Webster Crew. Don't mean you were a part of a
Right.
gang. It was just, we all stuck together. We protected the community.
Right.
So-
And I'm sure that the defense is going to, I hope the defense is going to have to further explore that so that he can explain, that there's no connection to his criminal history and the fact that he was raised on Cleveland. You know
Right.
what I mean? There's no connection. It's not he was doing crime in furtherance of the raised on Cleveland crew. That's
Right.
not
Yeah.
that has
Yeah.
not been established.
It hasn't been established, but they're trying to make being living on Cleveland, being
Right.
a part of the Rock Crew means you're a part of a gang. No,
Exactly. And
grew
that's not
up with
I don't
you.
think that's going to be enough. I don't think the jury's going to buy that either. And I don't think that this testimony is going as well as she expected. And I think her questions are awful. and
it gets worse.
and she's getting frustrated. I know she's getting frustrated, and unfortunately, the frustration is her own because he's a layperson, and you should know how to properly formulate a question to get the desired answer you seek. That's what being a lawyer is. All
Absolutely.
right, press play. Keep going.
Now I'm asking a specific question now, okay?
Well, your other questions
Do
weren't
you
specific.
and other members of Rock Crew ever commit any crimes together?
No.
Never?
No.
All right.
So
and that proves my point.
stop.
That proves my point. Right.
Stop for a second. Here's the problem I have with her. When she's not satisfied with the answer the witness gives, she re-asks the question. And for everyone who understands, who doesn't understand, this is a technique that prosecutors use on vulnerable witnesses, not just prosecutors, but even some shiesty defense attorneys. We saw it a little bit in the Heather Payne trial. To continue to ask the same question, and then you are signaling to the witness that you are seeking a different response, right? Because obviously, if I was satisfied with the answer you gave, I wouldn't continue to ask you the same question. So
Absolutely.
she did it just there when she asked, did you all ever commit any crimes together? He said no. She said never. Objection.
Ask and answer, Your Honor.
Right. What are we doing here?
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
She's trying to bait him, signal him, coach him to change his answer. And she does this later, and he does change his answer, and I didn't like it. Go ahead and play.
And are you aware of other members of Rock Crew committing crimes?
I'm aware that allegedly they was committing crimes. Everyone had a record at the time. Well, like some of us had a record at the time.
Members of Rock Crew had records.
Yes.
And they
Who didn't get arrested? It's in your overly police community that you live in.
Say that again for everybody to hear you.
Who didn't get arrested? In overly police communities, who doesn't get arrested?
Facts.
I mean, come on. I really hope the defense is taking notes, because the next question is, out of all the people that lived on Rock Creek Street or whatever, how many of those people got arrested? All of them, right?
Absolutely. And we learned through previous testimony, if you recall, during early testimony by one of the cops on the cross-examination by Keith Adams, he points out that that community was targeted for marijuana.
Right.
Yes. Keith Adams points that out.
Exactly. So it was extra overly policed.
Right. So it's not unheard that everyone in that community, not everyone, but a lot of people in that community had records.
Yeah, not everyone. Of course, I'm being hyperbolic.
But let me say this. When I was in Ferguson, if you remember, when Mike Brown got killed, we learned later on that they targeted a majority, 97% of the community had got stopped by police. I got a ticket or something.
Yes.
So they weren't in gangs. So if people could do their research, that came out. Right. So
we've had our own stop and frisk issues here in New York.
Absolutely.
And federal oversight because of the disproportionate number of Black and brown people who were being stopped for no reason, no illegality.
No reason.
Right. So this is frustrating for the learned ear, for the trained ear, for the person, for those of us who understand what she's doing. And I just hope that the jury can see what I see.
I agree.
As Rock Crew.
Yes, people caught cases as when it was Rock Crew.
What kind of cases did they catch as Rock Crew?
So, my childhood friend, he had a brother.
I would object.
I was right there when she asked that question. How would he know what everyone's rap?
No, the form of the question is, How were they arrested as members of the rock crew? There's no evidence that they were arrested as members of the rock crew doing something. The only evidence is that they was arrested and they lived on that avenue or street or whatever, Cleveland. Or they was raised there. That's an improper question, but the defense is nuanced and they should be objecting, man. They should be objecting. But
well, I think the cross-examination is going to be. You know how to do the cross-examination? Keith Adams, but that's just my opinion.
I sure hope so too. I agree with you on that. I really hope. I hope it's Adams. All right, go ahead.
What's the name of your childhood friend?
Jason Scott.
Basis.
Relevance. We're not talking about crimes. We're talking about charges.
Your Honor.
You all come on up, please.
Okay.
And see, this is the problem I have. When they come back, the judge is going to overrule. I think a portion of he sustained, but they must have been going into an area. What did you think just happened there when he objected?
She was asking questions that have nothing to do with this case. Completely irrelevant. But I think it's an untimely objection. They should have been objecting about this whole entire line of questioning. In the beginning, from when I first said, you asking about who introduced him, the person who's dead and who's not here. Why is that even relevant?
Right. Absolutely. This is a short sidebar. And we have so that was Max Short's objection. And I think Stillwell's going to come up as well. But they're listening. They're listening.
I mean, she's not. She says, when she says things like, I'm going to ask you a specific question, as if all of your questions haven't been specific. Well, why are you, I don't understand why you are, I don't know. I don't get it.
Let me see how fast.
But then you don't ask about any specific defendant. You're just saying members of Rock
That you told me
Crew.
that yesterday?
That you
What
were
does that
never
mean?
told by me or Investigator Randolph or anyone.
Hold on.
that you-
Let's listen to this.
Go
here.
back
This is
some.
important.
Like I was saying, my childhood
Yeah, you
friend
gotta go back
Jason,
a
he
little
was a
bit.
member.
Jason.
Explaining to me that
Which way? Let's see here.
Yeah. Give me a second. I'm gonna go while they're on that. I'm gonna pause. Gotta take a call.
Okay. Okay, guys. When they finish their sidebar, I'm going to pause it to allow Ike to come back on. And they're just about finished their sidebar. So we have at the sidebar, we have Max Sharp and we have Attorney Maxwell and we have Prosecutor Love and Westmoreland as well. Ike, are you ready? Okay.
Thank you for waiting, Mr. Stevens. Going back to the members of Rock Crew, would you tell the jury the names of some of your accomplices who were members of Rock Crew? Some of the people who were members of Rock Crew at the time that you were a member of Rock Crew.
Did she say accomplices?
I'm sorry. Say that. Run that back.
Didn't she say accomplices?
I didn't hear it.
Okay, let's run it back.
Run it back real quick. Oh my God! Not this.
No, it's 3 seconds.
Okay. 1,000. 2
1001.
3 1,000.
Okay, here you go.
So, of course, my brothers.
Okay, hold
Who were
on.
your brothers? Thank you for waiting, Mr. Stevens. Going back to the members of Rock Crew, would you tell the jury the names of some of your accomplices who were members of Rock Crew? Some of the people who were members of Rock Crew at the time that you were a member of Rock
She
Crew?
said accomplices.
Objection. She did, and I would object.
Absolutely.
And they're not.
Absolutely. She's trying to plant a seed with the jury
Yep.
and say they're working
Accomplices.
together. Accomplices.
terrible.
Why didn't they object to that? I'm like,
It's
You
like
have
1,000 lawyers in there, and not one of them objected to the term accomplice.
right. I'm like,
Come
wait a minute.
on.
I heard it then. I'm like, did I hear that? Because it was going, things were moving fast. But that was an opportunity.
Right.
You haven't established that they were accomplices. You know, accomplices.
At all. She has not established that at all. At all. And I think if she had gone over his plea agreement first, then maybe she could have established that he had accomplices. But she didn't do that. So
Yeah, good
objection,
point.
facts not in evidence, would be the appropriate objection at this time.
Wow.
But we didn't hear that.
Tell you some of the names that was. So, of course, my brothers,
What were your brothers' names?
but Demario
First and last name.
Demario Stevens, DeMartinez Stevens.
Okay. And were they members of Rock Crew before you were a member of Rock Crew?
So we actually all just at the same time.
Joined Rock Crew at the same time?
Yes.
All right. Would you tell the jury other members of Rock Crew?
So, like I was saying, my childhood friend Jason, he was a member.
Jason, what was that last name?
Scott.
All right. What were the other, and let me back up just a bit if you don't mind. I know that you've given your friend's family assurances that you won't be speaking on him, but in order to establish certain facts for the jury, I'm going to have to speak on
Objection, these are not questions, Your Honor.
and ask you questions.
Well,
All right.
objection. Wait a second. Do you mind finish talking? Just wait till I finish, okay? Based upon our written conference, or based upon that, I'm gonna sustain the objection, okay?
Sustain it, Your Honor.
I'm gonna sustain it. So,
Watch what happens right now.
no, I'm overruling the objection. Okay, so,
First he sustains and said, wait a minute, I'm overruling.
okay. All right?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Stevens,
Okay.
Booth, was that person's name Quentin Porter?
Yes.
And was that person the person who founded Rock Crew?
I'm not sure. They was all older guys, so I don't know who found it.
Was he considered the leader of Rock Crew during the time that you were a member of Rock Crew?
So it really wasn't no formal like leader. It was older guys. So if you want to say that he was one of the older guys, yes, he was one of the older guys.
Ike, please explain to the audience that because he took a plea deal, he can't plead the fifth. Because that's why.
Because of his particular type of plea deal, he can't take the fifth. He has agreed to testify. Not everyone has that type of plea deal. Gunna does not have that. He did not take a plea and agree to come testify. So if he comes to testify, he can assert his Fifth Amendment privilege to not incriminate himself.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Was he able to tell you or younger guys what to do as Rock Crew?
No one gave me any orders.
What kinds of things did you and other members of Rock Crew do on a daily basis together?
Objection, assume facts, not an evidence.
I keep saying I'm uncomfortable with that question because you are trying to make the jury think that there is a gang. The Rock Crew was a gang.
They're meeting every day and planning these crimes, and there's no evidence of that. He hasn't said any of that.
Right.
But the defense they're letting it go. Right? Objection. Assume that, and maybe they don't know because this judge is particular. And listen, evidence is one of the toughest subjects for a lot of lawyers, especially when it comes to judges who are particular and don't allow speaking objections, meaning you don't get to explain in lay words or parlance what the basis. He wants to know the legal basis, and I don't hear them being able to articulate that for him. So say that the legal basis it assumes facts, not an evidence. She's leading by doing that. There was one point that's going to come up, and pay attention to this point, where she's leading him and he's not answering her questions, and she's demanding that he answers in a yes or no manner, and the judge has to remind her that you're on direct examination. You don't get to ask him yes or no questions on direct examination. Direct examination requires you to ask open-ended questions, not closed-ended questions. Closed-ended questions are permissible only on cross-examination. But she's getting away with so much nonsense that it's very frustrating that the defense is not doing more to protect this record in this case.
Right.
The part that was like the hangout. We shot basketball, gambled on basketball, jump shots. We shot dice. We smoked weed, drunk liquor. We clubbed. Yeah, those
You all
things.
sell drugs?
Not at the time. I wasn't selling drugs.
So Ike, what he just described, Ike,
was not responsive to her question. That's what it was, right? Because she asked him about what crimes.
Right. But my point is that what he's described is what happens growing up in the hood, hanging with your homies.
When you get together from people from your block. Exactly.
Right.
When you get together with people from the block.
She makes it sound so bad.
And that's what he described.
I feel traumatized.
You know what?
Now.
See, here's the thing. This was also another opportunity for the defense to say, objection, judge, I'm going to move the strike because that's non-responsive. She asked him about crimes, and nothing that he just listed was a crime. That's why she came back with the selling drugs. And he's like, no. We weren't doing that. Again, so this is not relevant. There's no criminal activity. All right, go ahead.
What happened? I moved it. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Let's get back to where we was at.
So his lawyer is not. His
It was
lawyer
basically
can object.
manifesting
So
that-
Paradox True had a question and said, "Is that why his lawyer is not objecting?" His lawyer is not there, or
His
might
lawyer's-
be there, but it's
no,
not part of the proceeding.
Right. She's
She's
not.
not one of the not.
Right.
I'm
She's
cheating.
there, but
I'm
she's
sorry.
not. She's there. She's behind me actually, but she's
Okay.
not a part of the defense team. She's there
Right.
for him, and so he won't step into crap. You know.
Right. Right. So he doesn't
She's
jam
there to protect
himself
him.
up. Right. But he
And you're
doesn't
lo-
have anyone at a table who could object on his behalf.
Absolutely. There
Be
was
clear
one.
about that.
There was one part during the direct examination where his lawyer said, "Your Honor, I would like to see the document," and she's objected to the lawyer saying that, but the judge responds said, "Listen, his lawyer's in the courtroom, and his lawyer should read the document before you present it to his client." So
Right.
at that point, the judge acknowledged the defense attorney. Well, she wasn't defense; she represented him. She wasn't the defense attorney in the
Okay.
case, but she represented him.
Right. Okay.
I reached a certain amount of money before I turned 18.
Okay, let's
Did
go.
you ever
Not worldwide, but it was like televised and stuff. I was in juvenile.
Did I lose my place? Well, how far were we ahead?
No, I think
Let's see.
he said they wasn't selling marijuana. I mean, they wasn't selling drugs back at that point.
Okay.
I was trying to do my math.
don't do the math, Nash.
No, hold on.
No, you went. Oh, this is funny.
No, we ain't going there yet. We ain't going there yet.
All right, so noted, sir. You can rephrase, ma'am, one of us is having the last objection.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Steele, you are going to have to close it.
Did you?
Okay, we gotta sustain
Have
the
you
objection.
ever told an investigator Belknap that the 75K over 18 was because you had you got that tattoo because you had $75,000 by the time you were 18 years old?
So I don't recall. I mean, I started getting in trouble when I was 11 years old, so that was roughly 14, 15 years ago. I don't recall.
What things did you talk about with Mr. Adams and Mr. Steele yesterday?
What did he say? Mr. Adams asked me, where was Chrissy? Mr. Steele was explaining to me that
Objection. Hearsay.
it's a chance that I probably won't take the stand today, so having you sit out here.
Is that actually hearsay? If he could talk about him communicating with the defense
It's
attorney,
an out of court statement. He's offering for the truth of the matter asserted.
Okay.
Why is that permissible? And why is it relevant? Why should the jury even know that?
What she's trying to do is show the jury that maybe he's changed his story after talking to the defense team for Young Thug. So that's why she's leading up to say, so what did you talk about?
Yeah.
She's going into that area.
From 8:30
And they're afraid to object to
it's
make it look like they're hiding something.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I don't think they objected to that. I think they wanted them to keep on talking because they didn't want to do that like you just suggested. So the jury won't think that they're hiding something.
not good because I had a job. I got a job, and I was trying to make it work.
And did you all speak at all about what questions you might be asked on the stand?
So he showed me some images.
The question I'm asking you is, did you all talk at all about the questions that you might be asked on the stand?
If I'm not like wording his exact words, he said these images may be shown to you tomorrow.
Mr. Stevens, I appreciate that part. I'm asking you specifically, did you, Mr. Steele and Mr. Adams, talk at all about the questions that you might be asked on the stand? First off, how about this? Could you answer either in the affirmative or in the negative, either yes or no, and then give your explanation? Could you do that for us, please?
Yes.
So did you, Mr. Adams and Mr. Steele, talk at all about the questions that you might be asked while you were on the stand?
Yes, Mr. Steele showed me some images, and he said that you may be asked about these images.
And is that the only thing you all discussed when it came to questions you might be asked on the stand?
Yes.
Now, did anyone at any time, tell you how you might want to answer anything of that nature?
No.
You see, she's getting frustrated now. She wants him to say, yes, they told me that you were going to ask me exactly this.
Say it just like this.
She's getting frustrated.
Right.
And when you were shown the pictures that may be shown to you while you were on the stand, what was the conversation around those pictures?
So Chrissy was sitting right next to me. She's my attorney.
Okay. Christy, Ms. Glad.
Miss Glad, I'm
Is she in
sorry.
the courtroom today?
Yes.
Is she sitting somewhere back there waving at you right now?
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
So Miss Gladden told Mr. Steele that she has that file.
Objection. The lawyer's communication is privileged. Come on.
Any more?
Oh, that's right. I didn't think of that's right. That
Come
is
on.
right.
You asking him about conversations he had with his own lawyer, and then nobody's objecting. That's
You know
crazy.
something?
That's wild to me.
When I covered the Tory Lanez trial, the young lady that was Megan Thee Stallion's friend, she had her attorney there as well. She wasn't a part of the defense team, but she didn't have to say what she communicated to her attorney. Her attorney's there making sure she don't step in dog mess.
Exactly. You are only allowed to communicate what your understanding is based on the conversation you had. You can't talk about the contents of the conversation, though. That's hearsay.
So why didn't the attorneys objected to that? Because and his attorney's right there as well.
I don't know. I do not know. I do not know. It's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling.
Communication. Any other
And what's the point of it? What's the point of it?
The pictures you might be shown or any other questions that might be asked?
I'm going to see if you're going to be called and try to get you excused for it.
Anything else?
No.
All right. Other than Mr. Porter and your two brothers, would you please tell the jury, and Mr. Scott, please tell the jury other members of Rock Crew who were members during the time that you were a member?
So you want me to name everyone that I grew up with, basically?
Grew up with?
I would like to name for the jury other people who were members of Rock Crew during the time that you were a member.
I mean, are you gonna tell me when to stop, or is there a certain amount of people you name
Would you please just name some of them?
Just some of them?
So just name some people. All the ones you remember who were members of Rock.
Everyone?
Mr. Stevens. Would you please name
He got 50 11 names. He about to tap.
I probably name everyone.
Name the ones you can name.
Name the whole neighborhood.
Right. You want me to name all my friends?
All- she was getting
whole
frustrated.
day one list? And now, so here's when you hear stuff like that, right? For me, I'm gonna object, and I'm gonna say, Judge, the question is overbroad. It's overbroad, right? Because the witness can't answer it. He's struggling. So it's too broad. Narrow it down. He can't name every person who lived on Cleveland Street, Avenue, Block, whatever the case is, or who was raised on Cleveland Ave, whatever it is. It just can't. So that would have been a perfect time. You got to pay attention. The witness will guide you into the appropriate objection, Right there, Judge. The question is overbroad. You see, he's struggling. He's struggling with the names. He's asked her 3 separate times. You want me to name everybody? Like, it's too.
Right.
Okay.
Good observation.
So, again, I probably won't be able to name everyone first and last name. So I got my next door neighbor, we grew up together. His name's Marvin.
I need you to just name the members of Rock Crew, not friends, not people you grew up with necessarily, just.
Night and next door neighbor, man.
But these are all this. But this is the contradiction, is because in his mind, these are just his friends and neighbors.
Right.
And then she's like, "Don't name your friends and neighbors," and he's like, "Wait, what?" You see,
right?
His response is like, "But don't. Then who you want me to name?" Right? He's like, it is comical.
Oh, it gets better.
It's hysterical. All right, go ahead.
If you could wait an objection sheet.
I didn't hear that objection.
Okay, so the prosecutor asked a question and interrupted the witness.
John.
Ms. Love, you just let him finish and then you can approach your next question, okay?
Yes, John, I'm asking to make certain that the answer is responsive. I'm asking for members of Rock Crew, and because he's referencing certain things.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm asking to make sure that we're clear.
I understand, ma'am.
Would you name for the jury members of Rock Crew who were members of Rock Crew while you were a member?
Yes. So I started referencing certain things because that was.
I'm sorry. I need you to be responsive, and I need you can explain afterwards.
Okay.
You just name the people.
That's the thing. I'm trying to use my memory of like what people stayed at on my street to like help me help you, basically.
I appreciate you, but do you?
That was. Wait a minute.
I'm so tired of her saying, "I appreciate you, though." Thank you.
He says, "I'm trying to help you."
Oh my gosh. Like, I would object to the commentary. Judge, we don't need the commentary from Miss Love. I'm going to need her to stop doing that.
Absolutely.
Let me start by asking you this. Do you remember the people who were members of Rock Crew while you were a member of Rock Crew?
I mean, that was 10, 11 years ago.
You're not answering my question.
I can try.
I'm asking you if you remember the names of the people.
Not by heart, man.
You don't remember any of them?
Yes, I'm trying to, like, I almost can't remember. Like I said, I stayed in the same house for 30 years. So I can almost remember where everyone stayed at, and I'm trying to put the house with the name. So that's why I started with my neighbor. And like, that's the direction I was headed in.
Work out.
I pray the defense.
Stay up the block.
I pray the defense hone in on this line of questioning because she's trying to put cases on the whole neighborhood. It's like you want him to name everyone in the community. It's frustrating because I know Webster from where I grew up in the Bronx. It was from almost like a mile and a half, maybe 2 miles, maybe 3 miles. Can I know everybody on Webster? No, I don't know everybody on Webster. But
I'm just saying. So is everybody in the RICO? Is everybody from the Rock Crew in the RICO? Right. The whole neighborhood, everybody he could list or possibly name. I think this undermines her case, right? Because clearly all of these people are not part of the RICO. So why are you having him name people? It's completely that have nothing to do with this case. Is beyond me why we're even doing this.
Oh no.
So
Marvin, who's your name?
Yeah.
Who else?
There was another Jason. So I'm just like basically going up and down the street because all us raised on the street, that's off Cleveland Avenue, so that's what made us rock crew. So,
And he says that it. What the hell?
That were not exactly legal.
did I
Did I miss something?
don't recall.
Yeah, it looks like you fast forwarded it
Can I,
fast.
like,
Too
I don't
fast.
understand the question. She told me that night. She first told me about it at nighttime when she called my phone. Because these images may be shown to you tomorrow.
Mr. Stevens, I appreciate that part. I'm asking you specifically, did you, Mr. Steele and Mr. Adams, talk to you?
What's the answer?
Tell the judge your answer.
No.
And did you ever discuss the ATM thefts with any members of
I went too
ROC?
fast, too far.
Yeah.
I don't recall. Chris, Miss Gladden, I'm
In
sorry.
the courtroom today?
Yes.
Leave it there. That's what you're talking about.
50, okay, we're 53 mark. Okay.
These images may be shown to you tomorrow.
Mr. Stevens, I appreciate that part. I'm asking you specifically, did you, Mr. Steele and Mr. Adams, talk at all?
We'll go further a little bit.
And is that the only thing you all discussed when it came?
See, it's so much good stuff. Y'all don't want to miss anything. I just put it.
I don't know.
And is that the only thing you all discussed when it came to questions you might be asked on the stand?
Yes.
Now, did anyone at any time, tell you how you might want to answer anything of that nature?
No.
And when you were shown the pictures that may be shown to you while you were on the stand, what was the conversation around those pictures?
So Chrissy was sitting right next to me. She's
Chrissy?
my attorney.
Okay. Christy, Ms. Glad,
Chris, Miss Gladden, I'm
in
sorry.
the courtroom today?
Yes.
Should I fast forward a little more?
She's sitting
Now leave it.
somewhere back there waving at you right now.
Yes.
They told me don't touch it.
So Miss Gladden.
That's right. Don't touch it.
Mr. Steele, that she has that file and she would pull it up for me, and that was
Were there any more communications, any other conversations about the pictures you might be shown or any other questions that might be asked?
I'm going to see if you're going to be called and try to get you excused for it.
Anything else?
No.
All right. Other than Mr. Porter and your two brothers, would you please tell the jury, and Mr. Scott, please tell the jury other members of Rock Crew who were members during the time that you were a member?
So you want me to name everyone that I grew up with, basically?
I would like for you to name for the jury other people who were members of Rock Crew during the time that you were a member.
I mean, are you gonna tell them to stop, or is there a certain amount of people you need to name or
Would
anything?
you please just name some of them?
Just some of them?
So just name some people. All of the ones you remember who were members of Rock Crew.
Everyone?
Mr. Stevens, would you please name the members of Rock Crew who were members while you were a member?
I probably wouldn't even be able to name everyone.
Name the ones you can name.
So, again, I probably won't be able to name everyone first and last name. So I got my next door neighbor, we grew up together. His name's Marvin.
I need you to just name the members of Rock Crew. Not friends, not people you grew up with necessarily, just, if you would just give the names of the people who were members.
Prosecutor, sort of question.
If you could wait or Jackson sheet. I think you all got it.
Okay, well, the prosecutor asked a question and interrupted the witness.
Your Honor,
Just let her finish and then you can approach the next question, okay?
yes, Your Honor, I'm asking to make certain that we are that the answer is responsive. I'm asking for members of Rock Crew, and because he's referencing certain things.
Yes,
Okay.
So I'm asking to make sure that we're clear.
I understand, ma'am.
Would you name for the jury members of Rock Crew who were members of Rock Crew while you were a member?
Yes. So I started referencing certain things because that was.
I'm sorry. I need you to be responsive, and I need you can explain afterwards.
Okay.
You just name the people.
That's the thing. I'm trying to use my memory of like what people stated on my street to like help me help you.
I appreciate you. But let me start by asking you this. Do you remember the
Me
people
help
who were
you.
members of Rock Crew?
Pretty condescending.
I mean, that was 10, 11 years ago.
You're not answering my question.
I can try.
I'm asking you if you remember the names of the people.
Not by heart, man.
You don't remember any of them?
Yes, I'm trying to, like, I almost can't remember. Like I say, I stayed in the same house for 30 years. So I can almost remember where everyone stayed at, and I'm trying to put the house with the name.
So let me say this, Ike. So I had another camera watching the defense team as he was testifying. I'm going to play the reaction to his testimony.
Oh, yes, that would be hilarious.
So while one camera's pointing here, another camera's looking at the defense team. And trust me, they were enjoying this.
Yeah, they had to be. They had to be.
Your Honor, let him finish the question. Your Honor,
right.
She won't let him finish the question. Let him talk. Let him talk, Your Honor.
Yes, I was listening to that. That was hysterical.
So that's why I started with my neighbor. And like, that's the direction I was headed in.
Go ahead, please.
All right. So,
Marvin, who's your neighbor?
yeah.
Who else?
There was another Jason. So I'm just like basically going up and down the street because all us raised on the street, that's off Cleveland Avenue, so that's what made us Rock Crew. So of course, Quentin. His little brothers. He had 2 younger brothers. Dang, this like gonna be hard.
Are those the only people you remember?
They're like straight off top. I mean, like.
Did you ever talk with members of Rock Crew about things that you all did that were not exactly legal?
She keeps saying members of the Rock Crew.
Right, that you did that weren't a terrible question. A terrible question. No objection.
Can you I don't understand the question.
If he doesn't understand it, exactly. That's why you should be
members
objecting.
of Rock Crew about the things that you did, you and other members of Rock Crew, that were not.
Who are they?
exactly legal.
That were never identified. They have never been identified.
Yes.
What types of things did you all talk about?
So, shooting dice wasn't technically illegal. I had conversations about the dice game after they was over with.
Was shooting dice the only thing that was not legal that you all discussed that you all did?
Like where my money at?
That I can recall.
That's the only thing you remember? You have to say yes or no.
Yes.
Do you recall whether members of Rock Crew stole ATM machines?
I I'm familiar with the allegations, yes.
How are you familiar with the allegation?
It was like worldwide televised. So, not worldwide, but it was like televised and stuff. I was in juvenile detention facility when those allegations were like being brought about, being talked about. So, yes, I was familiar with it.
All right. Did you ever hear members of Rock Crew talking about it? Your Honor, no, it's not.
All right, let me rule on objection.
She was-
Objection,
that-
rule.
That's terrible. Like,
Wait. First, wait, Your Honor. No, it's not. No, that's not. Wait a minute. Hold on. No, it's not. Well, let the judge decide.
is she the judge too? Is she the judge?
Right. No.
Is she
The judge is the judge is the bailiff, and she's the judge.
Yeah, she's
No, it's
the
not.
judge because like she's responding to other people's objection. Like, what is her
Right.
problem?
No,
There's
it's
no
not.
self-control and or no sense of awareness that you're being obtrusive. It's just I'm sensitive to that as a Black woman attorney in the courtroom. It's harsh. It's brash. And as hard as I am online, I'm not like that in court. You know, when it comes to other attorneys and things of that. Now, I go hard in the paint, but you never want to lose your sense of professionalism, right?
Decorum for the courtroom.
And you always want to operate in my next point with a modicum of decorum, and that's not a good look, Miss Love. That's not a good look.
I didn't catch it then, but
You didn't catch that? Yeah.
Not then,
Okay.
just now. I'm like, wait a minute.
Wow. Yeah. When I was watching it, I mean, because I had it on in the background, and when I heard him objecting, I heard her respond. I mean, I snapped my neck around like, what? Wow.
The judge should have turned back to her and said,
The judge should have yes, he should have admonished her. And that's the problem. He's not doing that. He seems to be empowering this sort of behavior. And it's not cool. Crazy.
Yes, you may answer the question. Overruled, sir.
So I was in juvenile, and other people who was coming in fresh from off the street was like mentioning, hey, they're saying that guys from the neighborhood are responsible for these.
That's
I'm
hearsay.
not asking you that. I asked you a very, very specific question. So
She's objecting to her own question.
Did you ever hear members of Rock Crew talking about the ATM thefts?
Oh, no.
Never.
Me? No.
Hold on, Mr. Steele. What's the answer?
Tell the judge your answer.
No.
And did you ever discuss the ATM thefts with any members of Rock Crew?
I don't recall.
Did you ever discuss any members of Rock Crew's drug sales?
Your Honor, I just.
What's the base for your objection? What's the base for your objection, sir?
Foundation for time.
I'll sustain this to foundation, okay? You can rephrase, madam, okay?
Yes, Judge.
All right.
What year was it that you recall first being an active or being a member of Rock Crew? You said you were around a certain age. What year was that?
I'll rule that objection.
That means you can answer.
Oh. I had to be in about 6th grade. So whatever, you about 11 or 12 in the 6th grade?
Would you tell the jury what year you remember first becoming or being a member of Rock Crew?
I'm trying to count. I'm kind of bad with math. That's why I ain't passed the math part of my GED yet.
Let me ask you a different question while you count. handle them both at the same time. That's okay with you?
No, one thing at a time. One thing at a time. I'm sorry.
Okay. Do you want to be here today?
Do I want to be here today?
Do you want to be here?
No.
I'm gonna overrule the objection, Mr. Matthews.
So I'm sorry.
One date at a time. One at a thing. Don't ask me too many questions. That's crazy. My math is not that good. That's why I didn't have the test.
No, it's not just his math. It's his vocabulary. It's his reading comprehension. It's his literacy. It's his ability to understand the plea agreement. It's all of those things. It's all of those things. You're 30 years old. You're 30 years old, and you can't pass the math part of the GED. That's troubling. That's very troubling.
There was what was your answer?
No.
Why not?
Because I have a new career path that I'm trying to pursue. I've been filing applications, kind of trying to put all this behind me and move forward. And I paid for my CDL training school out my pocket, so I'm kind of trying to make that money back.
Okay. So you don't mind testifying then? Is that fair to say?
No.
Okay. And you don't mind testifying truthfully?
No.
Okay. So, if you would, give us a rough estimate of the year you first joined or were a member of Block Crew. Were you a member in 2010?
If I was in 6th grade, I'm trying to put what year I was in 6th grade.
How old were you in 2010?
I was trying to do my math.
Don't do the math, let me ask you this. What year were you born?
1993.
1993. So, in 2013, would that have made you about 20? You agree?
2013.
Yep. 93, 2003 is
13,
10, 2013 is 20.
20.
Now, we back up 3 years from 13, that puts us at 2010, which makes you about 17.
You're
She
going too
lost me
fast.
too.
She lost me.
I'm like, back up 3 years from
Listen,
what part? From
I was good when she was
She
stacking
mean back
the
up
10.
3 years from 2013. That's 2010. Like, but she still like she just 2010. She trying to get him to 2010. I think.
Right,
I think. Right. Well, how old would he have been?
And we're not laughing at him. We're pointing out that she
It's a terrible
is not
questioning.
right, and she's not recognizing that he's struggling with a lot of the questions.
Right.
And a lot of it looks authentic, you know.
And this is where a judge would allow her to lead and it would be permissible. It might not even yield an objection, right? She could say, so wait, let's go back. You was born in 1996, right? And so in 2000, you would have been whatever age. She could lead him there and just let him agree.
14,
but literally asking him to do the math is ridiculous. Why is she, that's just, all you got to do is reformulate the question. But this way it makes him look like a more vulnerable witness, and that maybe, he really doesn't understand everything that he signed.
Yeah, it looks like they got him with one of those convenience pleas.
Right.
The threat of life.
Right. So you'll say whatever we need you to say.
Right.
Overruled.
So in 2010, if you're about 17 years old, who's the member of Rock Crew with you during that time?
Objection. Again, facts not in evidence.
No, just around the age of 17. Who is a member of Rock Crew with you during that time?
With you where? Doing what?
My older brothers. The same people I gave you, the same name I gave you.
Okay. And those are still the only ones you remember even at 17?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, as a member of Rock Crew, did you also claim affiliation with the National Blood Gang?
Yes.
How was it that you, and Quentin Porter, what role did he have, if any at all, in your affiliation with the Bloods?
No.
None?
No.
None whatsoever?
No.
Okay. So how then did you become, or were you all affiliated with the Bloods?
How then did I become, or you all, or me?
You can start with you and then go to other members of Rock Crew.
So when I was in a juvenile facility, gang-related activity was going on all through there.
How do you define gang-related activity? What do you mean by that?
Saying you in the gang, hand signs, handshakes.
And is that a way or a means for people to identify themselves as being in a particular gang?
Yes.
What were some of the hand signs that you observed in the juvenile detention center?
Just at the time, because everything was new and we was like so young. I mean, I can explain it. I can show you.
Sure.
You gotta give me a hand.
No, you have no. You have to show the jury with your hand. I didn't say handshake, I said hand sign. So you have to show the jury with your own hand.
I fell out.
I was loaded.
Had me dying.
Listen, the camera was ready for her to shake his hand, get a hand sign. That would be a classic shot. She said, nah, I'm good.
Oh my God, that was hysterical. He's like, you gotta give me a hand. In what world you need somebody else's hand for you to make a gang sign? I don't even like. Okay, sir.
She was about to get initiated.
Oh God.
Like toying with this judicial system. I'm not trying to like play, just for the record. But yeah.
So show the jury.
I need another hand.
Are you telling the jury right now that you're unable to show hand signs without someone else's hand?
So my initial response was a handshake. I said, there's this handshake because we were so young, that's the only thing that we was doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
You also mentioned hand signs. Do you remember saying that?
But you asked me.
Wait, just let me ask you that. Do you remember saying hand signs?
Yes.
Okay. So did you see hand signs in the juvenile detention center?
It was new. I mean, like, gang and stuff was new back then.
Okay. So finish telling the jury what your definition of gang activity means.
Hand movements.
I'm sorry?
Hand movements, handshakes, colors, being around people who's doing the same handshakes, wearing the same colors and hand movements.
What gang activities did you observe as it relates to particular gangs while you were in the juvenile detention center? You understand my question because I can rephrase.
You can rephrase.
All right. What gangs did you see activity of while you were in the juvenile detention center?
The one that I was familiar with, the Blood.
What particular blood gang did you see activity of in the juvenile detention center?
Objection, foundation.
Guys, I'm still here. I'm just getting off camera. for a second.
I'll sustain the objection. You can lay a little more foundation, madam.
How did you know that they were Bloods?
They were saying it.
Did they say what kind of Bloods they were?
Again, gang stuff was like new. I was in juvenile, like it wasn't what it is. Like then, I mean,
Since you were in juvenile, you were under, is it fair to say you were under the age of 17?
nah, because I was sentenced in juvenile that you can exceed the age of 17.
So you were either 17 or younger.
Nah, I actually could have been older. I could have been 21. Like
How old were you?
when I first got arrested, I was
You were
11.
juvenile.
I was 11 when I was first introduced to the juvenile system.
So is this the time frame you're talking about when you're saying it was all new to you?
Yes.
Okay, when you were 11. Thank you. All right. Now let's talk about when you were 17. At 17, did you claim any particular game besides rock?
I was rock crew. Just rock crew.
Did you claim any affiliation with any blood gangs?
Yes, I claimed, yes.
What blood gang did you claim affiliation?
We were just saying Bloods and Crips.
I'm asking which one? Are you aware of particular blood gangs?
Yes, yes.
Would you tell the jury what blood gangs you are aware of?
Tell the jury which blood gangs I'm aware of. I'm familiar with, I'm aware of SMM.
What is SMM?
It's a blood gang.
I know. Okay. What does it stand for?
Sex, money, murder.
All right. And who is its leader?
I'm not sure.
How are you aware of it?
How am I aware of the name?
Of sex, money, murder?
From hearing about it type stuff. From like hearing about it and stuff.
From hearing about it?
Yeah.
From whom?
Who I heard about it from?
Yes.
So it's not no like particular person that I heard it from. It's like I heard about it though.
So what all do you know about sex, money, murder?
It's a blood gang.
Is there anything else that you know about sex, money, murder?
Not like officially, no.
Did you ever do anything to become a member of sex, money, murder?
No.
Did you ever publicly claim sex, money, murder?
I don't recall.
While you were hearing about things like sex, money, murder, did you ever learn or believe that harm would come to people who did things like falsely claim sex, money, murder?
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
I'm gonna overrule that, sir.
What?
That means you can answer.
Oh. One more time, I'm sorry.
While you were hearing things about sex, money, murder, did you ever hear or come to believe that harm would come to people who falsely claimed sex, money, murder?
Objection, compound question.
Sustained.
Do you have any knowledge whether harm could come to a person who falsely claimed sex money murder?
No, not personally.
Did you ever hear that harm could come to a person who falsely claimed?
That's it. I'm sustaining that objection.
Your Honor, it's not for the truth of the matter asserted, it's for its impact on him.
Okay. All right. I'll reverse my decision. He can answer that.
Did you ever?
An instruction and that this is not the.
Wait a
Your
minute.
Honor, I would.
Mr.
wait a
Smith,
minute. Hold on.
Mr. Harvey.
Hold on. He sustains it and he reverses it because he makes a slight plea. What the heck is going on here, Ike? What is going on here? You're muted, Ike.
She's
you're
like
muted,
the
Ike.
LeBron James of trial lawyer. How am I still muted? You got to
Oh,
take
you're
me
not
off.
anymore. You good. You good now. You good now. We didn't hear you when I asked you
Okay.
a question. I didn't hear nothing you said.
Yeah, I was saying she's like the LeBron James of trial lawyers. It's like she's gonna lobby for that call. Like
Right.
that's crazy. That is absolutely
reversed
crazy.
us.
And for him to change his ruling, and what she's saying is bogus. It's a problematic question. What she's asking him is objectionable, and he should have sustained it. And I just it's like mind-boggling to watch him do a complete 180. Like, really, dude?
So we hear standing objection. No, not standing objection, but arguing after the judges ruled. I mean, I don't see that happening too much for the defense to benefit like that.
Exactly. You don't see it happening at all. In fact, they get chastised. They get reprimanded if they speak too long. You'll watch it right now when you start. If they speak too long after the objection, they get admonished to there are no speaking objections. What's your basis? And that's it. But she gets to speak.
He turned around that quick.
That fast. She gets to say, well, I'm not offering it for the truth of the matter certain. Just so to be clear. There is an exception to the hearsay rule, right? There are a number of exceptions. And the reason we don't allow a hearsay is because we think it's traditionally untrustworthy, right? The game of telephone, somebody told you something and you are repeating it, that the potential for it to be less accurate than what it was originally said is right there, is ripe. So we don't allow that, right? And so she's saying, well, I'm not offering it because we're saying what was said was true, right? I only want to know what was said for his response to what was said. So we know what he did in response to what was said. So that's the exception to the hearsay rule that she's trying to get out. And that's why the judge, he agreed with her explanation, and he changed his ruling to allow the testimony in now under the theory that it's not going to be offered for the truth of the matter. That's my brother. Hold on. Go ahead.
Mr. Harvey, please sit down, sir. I'm going to overrule your objection, okay? All right.
Did you ever hear that harm could come to a person who falsely claimed sex money murder?
Who said that? Asked you.
Who said that's an answer?
I don't think anyone.
Mr. Harvey?
I said ask an answer.
Okay. All right. That has been asked and answered, Ms. Love.
Your Honor, he did not answer that particular one. He answered.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to continue playing once she's finished her call, but as we can see here, and we've seen it throughout the trial, the prosecution tends to get what she wants.
Listen, if I had the investigative resources, I would want to know a little bit more about the nature of their relationship. Only because there have been things that have been said in that courtroom that raise a particular cloud for me. Like there was the one exchange that they had where the judge had said to her, "Are you happy now? No, you're never happy." You remember that? That was early
Yes, I
on.
remember that.
Remember that? You're never happy. That's shit that husbands say to wives.
Yes.
That's what boyfriends say to girlfriends.
Yes.
Right? It just didn't seem like that's something a judge should say to a prosecutor, a woman prosecutor. That it seemed to have historical familiarity. You know what I mean?
Sounds like they're amorously involved.
I don't want to say that. That's why I said historic
No.
familiarity. I'm going with some nebulous, obscure term comment, but things like
Let me
that.
be careful. I gotta get back in that courtroom.
You got to go back in there. That's right. So, okay.
Judge, I'm just
you
kidding.
Say what
Judge.
you got to say.
Kidding,
Yeah, you say what you got to say.
We're gonna listen to the video because they're gonna make that clip go viral.
Oh my God. Okay, go ahead.
Hang on. Hold on.
I'm here. I'm just going off camera. I have a.
He has
I'm
answered the question, ma'am. Yeah.
Did you believe it when you heard it? Did you believe?
Mr. Steele, I'm going to overrule that objection.
Did you believe it when you heard it?
That somebody harm me?
That harm could come to a person who falsely claimed sex, money, murder.
Yes.
Are you aware of any of the hand signs used to proclaim sex, money, murder?
Yes.
Are you able to perform or to demonstrate any of these hand signs without the use of somebody else's hand?
Yes.
Would you please show the jury one hand sign signifying sex, money, murder? What does that mean?
Blood.
Okay. And what are you describing? For the court reporter's sake, describe how you just curled your fingers.
Dang. I made a circle out my pointing finger and my thumb, and I made another circle about my middle finger.
And are you familiar with any other signs that signify sex, money, murder?
What'd you say, Ike?
His pointy finger.
Okay.
Did you say pointy finger or his pointer finger?
Right. It's index finger.
Okay, I'll tell you.
Yes.
Would you describe it before you show it? What other signs are you familiar with?
What I described before I show it. A smaller circle.
What else?
And not curling my index finger this time.
Are those the only ones that you're familiar with?
Yes.
Would you show the jury the things that you just described? What is that?
A small, a lowercase b.
And what does that stand for?
Blood.
Okay. And what was the other one that you described? Or was that the only one?
I described a capitalized B.
Okay. Are those the only two hand signs you're familiar with that are related to sex, money, murder?
Yeah, that I can call them.
Ms. Love, before you continue, posit your next question, we've been going a little bit, and it might be appropriate, given the hour at this point, to break for lunch.
Yes, Your Honor.
And let the jury also have a period of respite. Okay, so.
So I'm going to go past lunch and take it to his continuation.
Appreciate that. Let me see about if there's any questions in the chat. in the meantime. And yeah, he got indexed this fine. He got index finger together. Oh God.
We're back for lunch.
The judge has a service dog? I never saw it.
Yeah, his name is Jack. He's right under the he's right to the judge's
Shut the front door. I did
it's
not
a
know
service dog,
that.
yep.
Wow. So what the judge has anxiety or something?
Well, you can kind of assume, that he needs that dog there. He's former military, and he might be suffering for something. I don't know what it is, but he has a service dog there.
Got it. Okay. Didn't know.
Okay, here we go. All rise for the jury. You don't have to
All right,
stand
ladies
up.
and gentlemen, please be seated.
Everybody present, counsel.
All right, thank you, Sergeant Ingram. All right, Ms. Love, you may continue with the examination, madam.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon again, Mr. Stevens.
Good afternoon.
Did you have a good lunch?
I ate some trail mix.
Some trail mix? Okay, well, if you get hungry, let us know. We'll stop, right?
Right.
We're not stopping again. That's such a
when
lie.
you left off At lunch, you were talking about the hand signs that
You should have bought lunch and she was back to
are
plan.
affiliated with
That's
sex.
right.
Why wouldn't they give him lunch?
Would you
That's
tell the jury
crazy.
how it is that
He
you
had trail
are
mix,
aware
that's
that those
it.
are hand signs that are affiliated or connected with
It's despicable.
sex, money, murder?
Really? Like word of mouth? Like, being around, being in the streets.
Being around and being in the streets. Have you ever used those hand signs?
I have.
Have you ever falsely claimed sex, money, murder?
No one, I never got jumped in. I never knew anyone who was like really official.
You said something interesting just now. You said, I never got jumped in. Would you tell the jury what that is?
Like the initiation process,
And what is the initiation process?
being jumped in.
I asked that question narrowly.
So Ike, I'm looking at some of the comments.
Mhm.
Do you think, being a defense attorney in New York and a former prosecutor, when do you think that there will be open coverage of cases like this? Where people can literally see gavel to gavel news coverage.
I mean, what do you mean? In New York?
In New
Or
York,
everywhere?
Well, New York City, the 5 boroughs.
I don't see it coming in New York.
Why do you think
No, I
that?
don't see it. I don't, because I think these judges like being shrouded in the secrecy that, or I wouldn't say it's secrecy, but the privacy, that they have to do a lot of the things that they do that people don't know about. I think a lot of things wouldn't happen in courtrooms if there were cameras there. And these judges
Why
not
hasn't
gonna
been
do that.
a heavier push for this? I guess that's the thing, because New York, there's so many people that I believe in no slight on what you do or anything like that, but I think a lot of people get railroaded in New York City.
Yes, I agree. It's not just New York. It's a lot of places. A lot of places. And that's because there is not anybody watching.
But we watching
There's
this
no
trial
spotlight.
here.
Yeah. But
And
but
this
look what we see. We're
right. That's
watching
what I'm
it,
about to say.
and if you follow the comments, I follow the comments. A lot of people think that the judge is being particularly difficult to the defense and being overly accommodating to the prosecution. This is not uncommon, and I've seen worse.
Right. You've seen this.
I've seen judges do work. I've seen judges actively participate and become a second prosecutor. I've had trials where I've had a judge literally write direct examination questions for the prosecutor in Queens. And I object furiously, vehemently. Judge, that would be improper. You know this. He's like, I just want to make sure that he doesn't run afoul of my ruling. Then he needs to fashion his own questions so that he doesn't run afoul.
A cheat sheet to
the judge was basically, so over the lunch hour, he went to his office or chambers and he typed up questions, and he had a sheet for the prosecutor when we came back after lunch. Had about, I don't even remember, 5 to 10 questions on there. And I was like, Judge, I think you should recuse yourself because you clearly are too invested. You can't be writing questions. And of course, judges get to determine whether or not they are being fair. And so, of course, he's like, no, I'm not going to recuse myself on being fair. Then he offered, because he was being fair, to write questions for me as well.
Wow.
Which, of course, no, thank you. I'm supremely qualified to write my own questions.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
But yes, so imagine if that had been on camera. All right. Imagine that. He wouldn't have done that if the world was watching. Come on.
Yeah, I would hope to see something like that change. The governor's doing, and that comes from the legislators.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or I mean, even if it was maybe unified court system wanted to say, hey, we're gonna implement, more public scrutiny. Listen, the appellate courts allow for you to stream their arguments in the appellate court. I mean, you don't get to see what the deliberative process of the judges are, but at least you get to hear the arguments. There's you get to hear what the judges are asking the litigants in the appellate court.
Yeah, I covered the high court here, and I was able to bring a camera in as well.
The appellate, right? So here in New York, you can see the appellate court, you can see the appellate division, and the Court of Appeals. But I do not think, but there's nothing for trial courts, and a lot of judges don't want you in their trial court. They don't want
something
the media
to look
there.
at down the road, hopefully.
Yep.
Yes.
The question is just
I'm gonna overrule the objection at this point in time, Mr. Steele.
Thank you, Your Honor. You may answer that question.
The initiation process.
Yes, you said that being jumped in was the initiation process.
Right.
And I asked you, what is the initiation?
Your Honor, I apologize as well. I think that is mischaracterizing the state.
That is not the testimony.
I object. Just a formal question.
He tells them to fix it during cross-examination.
Hold on a second.
Not uncommon.
I'm gonna overrule the objection, Mr. Steele.
Of course
May I
you
answer
are.
the question, Mr. Jury?
The initiation process.
Yes, what is it?
Oh, to be jumped in.
What does that consist of?
A fist fight.
A fist fight?
Yes.
Okay. Between who?
A person who's already in and a person who's Trying to get in.
And to what end? How long does the fist fight have to take place?
I guess to the person who initiating the person say it's enough.
He's saying, I guess.
All
Objection.
that
He's
type of stuff was
speculating.
going on
Right,
in the juvenile
right.
facility that I was in.
So is that a missed opportunity by the
Now, my
defense?
Yep.
question to you,
Yep.
and I appreciate your answer, was have you ever falsely claimed sex, money, murder?
Yes.
I never been jumped in.
I'm asking you,
So I never
have you
went.
ever falsely?
Stevens, you'll have to finish it.
I
Why is she
sustain objection. Let him
qualifying
finish,
it with
Mr.
falsely? Just ask him
okay.
if he ever claimed.
I never went through the process of being jumped in the initial game.
Have you
And even
ever
though you didn't get jumped in,
falsely
did you
claimed
ever,
sex,
did
money,
you
murder?
go with the falsely?
Yes,
Oh my
You
God.
have falsely claimed it.
yes.
She making him say that at this point.
So I never been jumped in. So like, ever since I started saying it, ever since I was in juvenile and I got a tattoo of a bee. So basically,
Say that one more time.
ever since I was in juvenile and I got a tattoo of a bee.
And you got a tattoo of a bee.
Yes.
Okay. Now, is Rock Crew affiliated with Sex, Money, Murder?
I'm Rock Crew and I know about sex, money, murder. So yes.
Are you comfortable with that answer?
I'm sorry,
Not
say
at
that
all.
one more time.
I'm a part of Rock Crew. I was a part of Rock Crew, and I was a part of sex, money, murder. So, yes,
Are other members of Rock Crew a part of Sex, Money, Murder?
I want to be understands that question.
other members are part of Rock Crew, sex, money, murder. Yes,
Do you see any members of Rock Crew or any people who were members of Rock Crew in the courtroom today?
no one in this courtroom was initially raised on Cleveland.
And the prerequisite to be a part of Rock Crew is to
Right.
be from the
She
neighborhood.
was raised on Cleveland. So that would be a
there's no way
no.
that they can be part of Rock Crew.
So
So that's a no.
you're saying that there's no one in this courtroom who was ever a member of Rock Crew?
Answer,
No
ask
one
and
in this
answer.
courtroom was raised on Cleveland with me to be able to be a part of a crew called Raised on Cleveland.
Raised on Cleveland. Raised on Cleveland.
He ain't dumb.
He ain't
is
dumb.
not dumb.
You clarified that. He got it. Yeah.
You got that. Nobody was raised with me to be a part of Raised with Me.
Right. Right. He needs to keep driving that home. Raised on Cleveland. That's what Rock Crew means.
Mr. Stevens, I appreciate what you're telling us. I'm asking
No, you don't.
You
don't
you really
appreciate.
don't.
Was anyone in this courtroom besides yourself?
You want to take that
ever
plea
a
back.
member of
You
Rock
really do.
Ask and answer it. How is she gonna keep asking the same?
So is it forming the question, Mr. Harvey? Okay, all right. I sustain that objection. All right, you can rephrase, madam, if you can.
Was anyone in this courtroom besides yourself ever a member of Rock Crew?
Objection.
No,
Asked
because
and
you have to be
answered.
born and
Raised on
Cleveland
Cleveland.
to be a part of Rock Crew.
Rock Crew. Right.
Was anyone in this courtroom besides yourself ever affiliated with Rock Crew?
What's the difference?
Yes, because they know me.
Yes, because they know me.
How are you affiliated with a gang
Some
because
of
you
them
know
even
one
around
gang
when
member?
The Rock Crew
Yeah,
era
that's
was going on.
dangerous.
It kind of been like
That is dangerous.
That
you know why
makes
it's
no
dangerous?
sense.
Right.
It
'Cause
makes her
I
look
may know
so
a gang
desperate.
member.
Right. So you affiliated with that gang. That's
Right.
all it takes. That's
Is
all.
that what it
That
takes to make a
cannot
RICO
be all
case?
it takes. No, absolutely not.
And I would
Absolutely
argue
not.
that knowing someone that is a member of a gang doesn't make you a member of a gang.
It
can
doesn't.
know
It doesn't
someone.
make you affiliated with a gang either.
Right.
Simply
it doesn't.
because you know them.
But
That's
she's playing games
crazy.
with the. She's trying to plant seeds in the head of the jury, obviously, because I don't know how much that will stick.
I really hope that the defense is. I'm telling you that there's so much cross-examination here that I really hope that they have taken the time to go through this testimony and to properly set up the cross-examination to hit every point that we're bringing up tonight, because this is crazy.
And I would say Keith Adams has to do the cross. He has to. He has to.
Yeah, please, come on, Steele. Gotta give it to Adams because
Dang. No,
so now he looking around trying to pretend like he don't recognize you.
Okay, so you said none of them could be, so no one here in this courtroom besides yourself, is your testimony,
The fifth time.
has ever been affiliated
How many questions?
with
How many
Rock
times?
Group?
Objection
No.
asked and answered.
A part of Rock Crew? I don't understand.
Raised from Cleveland.
What part don't you understand?
The question. The entire
The whole
entirety
question.
of the question.
Not a part. The whole question.
Is there anyone in this courtroom besides yourself who has ever claimed to be a part of or affiliated with Rock Group?
No, no one claimed Rock Crew.
Compound question. Speculation.
I sustained as to, that was Mr. Shart and Mr. Matthews sustained as to both grounds. So you can.
Compound question.
To your knowledge,
He
has
already
anyone in this
answered it.
courtroom besides you ever claimed to have been affiliated with Rock Group?
Answer that question already.
Can
5 times.
going to neighborhood clubs be a form
Now
of
who's asking
affiliation?
her question? Objection.
Right.
Witnesses don't get that.
You have to tell the jury whatever your answer is.
Oh my God! Kangaroo
If that
court.
is the case, yes.
This is kangaroo court.
And so
Where's
who
the
are these
defense?
That went to the club with Rock Crew? Because that was my answer to my question.
Okay, so, sure, let's start with that. Who are those people
That I've clubbed with. That I've been to a club with.
that you said went to the club with Rock Group?
I almost been to a club with every one of them except the younger one.
Would you name the people here?
First and last name?
Yes, sir.
To my best ability.
Okay.
Dang, I don't even know his name.
What do you call it?
Quay.
Okay, who else?
Jeffrey
You know his last name?
Williams.
Okay,
Shannon Stillwell.
okay.
And I don't know his name. I don't know his last name, but I call him Quay. And DeMonte.
Kendrick,
Yes.
how long have you known Quay?
Oh, the objection, Mr.
It's pretty relevant as a RICO.
Matthews.
Now you want to object?
You know what? I'm glad you asked me that. Tell me who in this courtroom you're referring to as Quay by the clothing that they're wearing. Let's start with the first Quay.
The first Quay is right here with the brown.
Okay? And when you say right here with the brown, is he seated between a man in a purple suit and a man in a blue suit?
Yes.
Okay?
Objection leading.
And who is the second Quay?
In the back, in the far back.
Your Honor, would the record reflect that the first Quay was identified as Mr. Marquadius Huey?
It shall.
And you said the second Quay is in the back?
Yes.
What is he wearing?
Black
All right. And where is he seated?
in the back.
Next to whom?
You asked me to say that name? I don't know the
I'm
name.
asking you to describe what they're wearing.
Oh, gentleman in a brown suit and gray suit.
So a gentleman on one side in a brown suit?
Yes.
And a gentleman in another side on the gray suit?
Yes.
Is he seated at the first table, the second table, or the third table?
Second table?
And is he the second person from the end as to your left?
Yes.
Your Honor, would the record reflect that the witness has identified Mr.
Is he the
Marquadius?
second person from the
Yes,
end leading? That's disgusting.
So how long have you known Mr.
Come on,
Marquadius
that's
Huey,
just
who you
terrible.
called the Quay?
So why is he asking to stand up?
I already know of him. He used to come to the Cleveland Avenue Park and play basketball there.
So what's the how long? What's the answer? How long have you known him?
So the time frame I have problems with, man. I've been telling you that since I've been up to understand.
Do you know if you've known him longer than 5 years?
So can I say I knew him before I went to prison?
It is the truth.
Yes.
When did you go to prison?
2015.
So you knew him before 2015?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And what about Jeffrey Williams? How long have you known him?
Of course, before I went to prison.
I'm sorry.
I said before I went to prison, but like probably 3 years before that.
Why did you say, of course, before I went to prison?
No, because I used prison as an example to help me time frame the first person that I referenced to. So I'm going to use prison to help me with the time frame for the second person I referenced to.
And how long have you known Shannon?
I met Shannon in like probably 2014, 2013, probably 2014, 2013.
2014 or 2013?
Yeah.
And what about Diamante?
I actually went to elementary school with him. I didn't see him again until after prison, after elementary school.
So how long has that been? Since what year?
So Ike, can you talk about the significance of the 10-year timeline in which he knew him when he was younger and to where we are today? Because it seems like they were all 10 years younger. Like I you know, and I understand it's a RICO case, and they went back some years, and they're trying to connect the dots, obviously. But why do you think it is problematic for the prosecutor to bring this indictment against these individuals when it's so long? I don't know. It seems strange that he's talking about playing basketball with someone. He's talking about perhaps seeing someone else at a party.
All right.
It's
I
not
think the biggest problem I think the prosecution has with this case is to connect all of these various different things that these different people have done over the course of all this time to connect them all and say that they were all a part of some organized scheme or plan in furtherance of this one entity organization's desire to take over or to flout or own or whatever the organization's goal is supposed to be. There's no evidence that any of these things have any connection.
Absolutely.
There's no evidence that this is not just your standard vicissitudes of growing up on Cleveland Street or Cleveland Avenue, right? That's what this sounds like. And anybody who grew up in the inner city, you was a crew. You was a part of a crew.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't know anyone who grew up in the inner city who at some point in their youth was a part of a crew. Right? Whatever you called yourself, whatever y'all came up with the name was, y'all was a crew and y'all all had a different name, right?
That's right.
I was in a crew, right? My name was Crazy Key. What it was, this we was teenagers, and this is you
That's
rapping
right.
at the lunch table, and you get together and you go to the movies and you do different activities, and that's what he's describing.
That's what he's
describing. Now, whether or not these kids, again, in this over-policed community, then engaged in secondary labor market activity, doesn't seem to suggest that is some organized plan. That's survival for him. He's like, if he committed a robbery, it wasn't in furtherance of the Rock crew or Cleveland crew or anything like that. It was in furtherance, I want to eat tonight, or I want to buy my girlfriend a pair of 5411. I don't, you know what I mean? I don't see connections here.
And you got to recall during when at the beginning of the trial, the first witness they brought on was a gang expert.
Right.
I don't recall him saying anything about a crew as one of the prerequisites to be a part of a gang.
No, he didn't. He didn't talk about that. But I think what she's trying to establish is that they are so well known that they formulated this initial crew and that it sort of morphed into this criminal enterprise. I think that's what she wants to sell, right? They started out petty crime, small time, and then they morphed into this more sophisticated, more elaborate conspiracy with organization and leadership and hierarchy of authority. But I don't see that, right? One of the other things that I thought was telling is he said he didn't get jumped in. Now, I know that there's a lot of different ways for you to initiate into a gang, but typically I hear gang members say that they blood in. So you can get into the gang not necessarily having to be jumped in. You go cut somebody as part of your initiation, so you can blood in, right? So there are different ways, and I don't remember the expert talking about different ways, different sets.
Yeah, I don't think he talked about that so much.
Right. So him saying this whole idea that because he wasn't jumped in, that he was falsely claiming he was a member of the gang. I don't know where she's going with that. Like, what is the point of her charging this person as a co-defendant, claiming he was a gang member, only for you to turn around and say he wasn't? Right? Because that's basically what he's saying. He's like, I never got jumped in. So she's like, so you were falsely claiming that you was a part of money, sex, and murder, sex, money, murder, SMM. And he's like, yeah. Really? That doesn't make sense. That does not make sense. Let's see what the comments
it might be.
He was saying he didn't get right. If he didn't get initiated, then so that's again. If he's not initiated, then technically he's not in the gang. So she's asking him, does he know if any harm would come to him for falsely claiming that he was in the gang? And he's like, no. Right. So there's no. I guess the suggestion is
he's not right.
The
How would he know if
suggestion
he's
is
not
that there's no penalty, right?
right?
For fronting, and we know that that's not true.
We know that.
We know that's not true. You even on a less serious, a less I don't want to say serious, but a less criminalized level. Think about fraternities and sororities, right? You can't go around pretending you a Delta, talking about oop. Them women will be looking at you like you got two heads. You
That's
would
right.
be called to the mat. Folks would be talking. Listen, you cannot do that. And the same is true for our street gangs. You cannot pretend to be in a gang.
You can't.
So I'm not buying that. I'm not buying his testimony that he was throwing up gang signs. You got tattoos, you doing handshakes, you identify as blood, but you never blooded in. Or you never jumped in. Maybe you blooded in and that's why you didn't jump in. I don't know. I'll be curious to see if anybody on Cross is going to talk about that. False flagging. Melanie said he false flagging.
Right.
That's
False
crazy.
flagging. That's the term.
That's crazy.
Hold on, let's go.
All right. Yeah.
I went to elementary school with him. I didn't see him again till after I was released from prison. So I really don't know too much of the adult him. I knew him as a child.
Right.
Now,
Right.
Don't even know
did you
him.
both, you
And
went
that's
to
real.
elementary school?
That's real.
Were you living on Cleveland Avenue while you were in elementary school?
Yes.
Where was Diamante living during that time?
I'm not sure. I just know we was in third grade together.
Okay. And how long have you known Cornelius Nichols, the one you call the second Quay?
He's younger than me, so I knew of him to be out and about around the neighborhood, hanging with like some of the more guys younger than me. And when I came home from prison, he was older and like we probably got to really kick it for like a year, and he went back to jail. So I technically know like.
Come on up, Mr. Harvey.
Ouch, dude. My question is, though, how does this help the prosecution if he's false flagging? If that's
Right.
accurate, then he's not an
Right.
authentic
Right.
YSL or I don't know.
I'm
Is
looking
he
forward
part
to
of the
call.
organization or he's not?
Yes.
How old is Miss Love? You married, Dennis?
I don't know. I
You know?
don't-
How
I
about the
would
judge?
say,
How about the judge?
the judge is married.
Okay.
He's married.
The Epstein names have been unsealed.
Say it again.
The Epstein list has been unsealed.
Yeah, I heard about that. But let me pull this over a little bit. I promise I won't go too far. We're almost over it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was a long sidebar.
Whether someone would
That's what we did. Pass this nonsense.
Yeah, let me go. I did stay in the court long enough today.
Or a little bit after.
Oh, this is a
Without
decision
that,
from Judge
yes or
Prescott.
So when you begin with your
Judge
question
Prescott.
and
Snap it up, kid.
someone says objection, it like throw my whole train of thoughts off.
Okay.
I cannot walk
So
and
I
chew gum at
asked
the
you
same
how
time.
long you've known Cornelius Nichols, the person that you refer to as the second Quay. And then I am asking you, is it fair to say that you have known him since around 2015 or a little bit after?
That's
Yes
fair.
or no? That's
Yes,
it?
yes.
All right.
And off topic briefly. I don't unless that list is filed stamped
Since
by
we
a
also
court.
talked about
People
sex,
can
money,
mix
murder.
and chop and screw the whole list, you
To
know?
your knowledge,
It's
there
the same
anyone in
list.
this
This list has been out
courtroom?
since 2017. It's not a new list. The list is I don't even know what the hype is. We've seen the names already.
Okay, so has a lot of that been redacted, the names?
No, you don't remember the list came out a while ago, years
I
ago
never
when
I
it
never even
first
looked at the
broke.
list.
Oh, I
never even
looked
looked
at the list. This is when Prince Andrew, we knew Bill Clinton
Oh,
was
that
on the
list.
list.
Yeah.
Couple models on the list.
Yeah.
It was the like passenger manifest or whatever.
Okay.
Who cares though? At this
Yeah,
point,
Who has claimed sex, money, murder?
right? Nobody shocked me either.
Not to my knowledge.
Would you tell the jury what someone would do in your presence that would make you consider them to be claiming sex, money, murder?
What? Objection. Confusing. Look,
Why is it trying
he
to
looks
confuse him?
confused.
Am I
He
present?
looks
An
confused.
example of something you would need to see a
That's when
person
you
do
object.
for you to perceive them as claiming sex, money, murder.
Objection. Form. Confusing.
I think I'll go by what they tell me.
Okay. Would you also go by hand signs that they do in front of you?
No, because anyone can do that.
Have you seen anyone in the courtroom do sex, money, murder hand signs?
They could have been doing any type of hand signs.
Have you seen anyone in the courtroom doing sex, money, murder hand signs?
They could have been doing any hand signs.
Deliberately obtuse.
You could have. I'm not certain I understand your answer. Would you clarify whether or not you have seen anyone in the courtroom do hand signs that you recognize to be sex, money, murder hand signs?
They got hundreds
So
of
they could have been
witnesses.
doing a particular hand sign, and it could have been meaning something totally different from sex, money, murder.
Have you seen any that you recognize as being like sex, money, murder?
I don't recall.
Okay.
Ha! Bet you don't.
We talked a little bit before lunch about members of Rock Crew and gang activity. Do you remember that?
Okay, so Ike, do you want to go make this a part two? Because
Yeah, because
we
it's
ha-
too long, and we want
It's
to,
too
and I
long.
want to talk about when she does ask him about his understanding of the contents of the plea agreement, and he talks about how he only had a limited amount of time to review it, how he had a different lawyer at one point, and that this new lawyer, this woman, got the agreement on the 27th, and he wanted more time. And so let's talk about that, because I think that some of that was important. And she was trying to keep him from saying some of it, right? So
he was trying to get it out.
He was trying to get it out. And so yeah, let's do that. You want to come back tomorrow? Same bet time.
Same bad time.
And
Hey,
do a
listen,
second
here's
part
here-
two.
we are. Let me give you the placeholder so we'll know.
Okay,
we had
placeholder.
3 hours and 31 minutes 3.34 seconds.
34 seconds. Okay. 333. That's the universal yes.
Yeah, 3 hours, 31 minutes, and 34 seconds. That's it.
Okay.
Ike, I
On
do
the third.
appreciate
Look at
you.
all these threes. I like it. All
Oh,
these
yeah.
threes.
Better
Threes is
333 than
universal yes
666.
6 is not bad. 6 is don't fall into Western culture. 6 is not a bad number either.
666 is good.
All right. Yeah, 666. Listen, you get to define what it is. I have a whole list of what numbers mean to me. None of them are negative. Okay. So tomorrow, what are we doing tomorrow? We're gonna come back tomorrow, do part 2, finish off his direct. Is the court meeting tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay, so they'll probably get some. We might be able to cover some cross-examination too.
Yeah, I think this witness is significant because he was one of the alleged founders.
Yes, he's the co-defendant. Yes, of YSL. Exactly, and I think I agree. I think he trying to go to bed. I'm trying to go to bed too, Vanderveer. I'm in here yawning. I think he's seeing me yawning too. He's hiding his eyes. Excuse me, I'm tired. I am tired though. I'm yawning, trying to stop yawning. I'm old. 11 o'clock. My watch is gonna start making noises. That is my bedtime.
My Alexa's gonna go off. My Siri's gonna go off, and my alarm's gonna go off.
Exactly. Everything is like ding, ding, ding. Take yourself to bed. So we're gonna come back tomorrow and finish breaking it down. You know what? In the meantime, guys, if you guys have questions that y'all want us to address, or if there's some observations that you want to explain, throw it in the chat on the video, either on Dennis's channel or my channel, so that we can respond and give you whatever kind of information you're looking for. And my voice is starting to go, so I know I'm tired.
Oh yeah. And shame. I had the shamelessly plug. I had dinner while when those cameras went out. I was eating dinner.
and I have not had any dinner. That's terrible.
Oh, I feel guilty.
I haven't had dinner. I had an apple earlier.
I'll toast to you, by the way.
Oh, that's nice. Very nice. I went to Pilates today. I did have my exercise done.
I was in the court today. I had the short sleeves on. Security's like, oh, I see you got the tight shirt on today. You got some muscles.
You had a medium shirt on today, Dennis?
I had the short shirt on.
You had the medium on.
They want to say, who's that guy carrying all that equipment? Yeah. Don't try me now. Sergeant Ingram.
You had on the tight
Sergeant Ingram. We're going to talk about Sergeant Ingram tomorrow. Sergeant Ingram did some interesting things today. We're going to talk about the Sergeant tomorrow, but not today. Ladies and gentlemen, I do appreciate you joining us. Please make sure you follow my guest, attorney Akeisha L. Shabazz. Follow on Ike Speaks on social media. Ike Speaks on Twitter. Ike Speaks on Instagram. And you know how to follow me on at Mr. Dennis Byron on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook as well. I do see questions, but you know what? Leave your questions in the comments section. If you have questions after watching this part of the video, get them ready for tomorrow, and we'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow to talk about finish the direct and the cross-examination. And who do you think will give the cross-examination? Keith Adams or Brian Steele?
I'm rooting for Adams. I need Adams. I need the flavor. I need the energy. I need the flow. I like the way he formulates his questions. He's a little less technical than Steele. I think that's what is required for this witness. When you get into technicalities and you're not able to meet a witness where they are, you cannot adequately question them. You cannot adequately cross them because they will not be receptive to your questions. And if they're not answering, then you're not getting out what you need to get out. So I don't think Steele is the right lawyer to do the cross because of his technique, the way he crosses. So hopefully, they'll take heed to that. Yeah, he'll be better for the medical examiner. That's Steele's witness, right? You know, the people that they're going to put on these technical witnesses, he's good for those.
Absolutely.
He's good for those. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us.
Hopefully they'll do that.
We out. Good night, everybody.